Okay.
Hey, this is Margie Singleton, and you're listening to Country Party Time with Lance Hawkins.
Great. Thank you. And we are very honored today to have a lady that I have been a fan of for many, many years through her records by herself, also the duets that she did with George Jones, Faron Young, and her husband, Leon Ashley. All great records, and it is indeed an honor to have with me today Miss Margie Singleton. Margie, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Lance. It kind of blows my mind and humbles me very much to you walked in and you said, I've got the first record that you ever cut.
Yes, I
And
sure
that
did.
just floored me because, uh, I have made some tracks in this business, but not Margie Singleton's no household name, and I know that. But I've been in it a long time, and I'm finding that more people know of me than I ever dreamed,
Mhm.
and you're one of them. And you're like my adopted children. Two or three of them know more about me than I know myself.
Wow.
You were telling me
Uh
some
huh.
things I had out that I didn't even remember.
Well, I've been collecting these records, and when a good song comes out, I gravitate to it. And you and Leon, you guys had some good records down through the years, and really I've enjoyed them. And we're going to talk about some of them. But first, let's get started where the beginning. What is your name at birth?
Margaret Louise Eby, Ebey.
Okay, and where were you born?
Coshada, Louisiana, between Shreveport and Alexandria.
Kashuta, is that correct?
No, it's Coshada.
Kashada. Okay. See, I wanted to get what the correct pronunciation was because I couldn't figure it out. And what were your parents? I mean, what were who were your
That was
parents?
mom and daddy. My dad was John Eby. My mom was Janie Eby.
Okay. And did you have any siblings?
Oh yes, I had four brothers older than me. I was the fifth of seven children, and I've got two sisters younger than me. My brothers are all gone. My mom and dad, of course, and but I have my two sisters because they're
Oh,
younger than me.
wow. That's great. So, when you were growing up, who were some of your influences as far as vocalists?
Lance, I just loved music. Win Stewart, I loved his stuff. I loved George's stuff, Faron's stuff. But you know what? I have tried to analyze my music in the fact that I, I I was influenced by country, gospel, blues. I loved rhythm and blues,
Mm-hmm.
and rock and roll, the four genres of music.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm just a Duke's mixture,
Yeah.
you
Well, I
know.
was going to say you have a very un un there's no style that you had.
I know.
You could do country excellently. You could do gospel. In fact, one of your records on Star Day on the Cross had a Martha Carson influence on it. It's very
Hmm.
full throated and just almost expect you to get up on stage and with a tambourine basically.
My dad asked me to write a gospel song for him,
Hmm.
and that's what came out of me. And by the way, I just re-recorded that song
Oh wow.
and got a great cut on it.
Hmm.
A young man, I can't think of his name right now, and he'll kill me if he heard this, but he's a historian on Star Day.
Uh-huh. Nate Gibson.
Nate,
Yeah.
yes. He called me one day, and I didn't know him, and he
Hmm.
asked me would I do two of my old songs. And I said, why? He said, because they're good stuff. And he picked one, You're My Special Dream.
Okay, yeah,
And I
got
thought,
that.
Nate, that's a bad record. That's a bad thing. He said, Margie, I love it. I want to do it.
Uh-huh.
And he said, and pick another one, pick a gospel. I said, well, On the Cross.
Uh-huh.
And he came to town, and I said, well, it's your money, hon. I'll do whatever you want me to do. And I tell you, we went in the studio and we got a cut on You're My Special Dream with Tim Atwood and Steve Henson on
Uh-huh.
the steel guitar and lead guitar, and I don't know who else was, but You're My Special Dream, it came off, I mean, just beautifully. I was
Wow.
so amazed.
Wow.
And so did On the Cross, and I'm going to be releasing them in my next
Oh,
country and gospel CD.
great.
I'm gonna have a new gospel CD and a new country CD.
Uh-huh. That's absolutely fabulous. I've loved On the Cross. That's a good song.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Where
Martha Carson was one of my influences.
Yeah, I could tell. Like I said, it was
Yeah,
that very that was kind of like one of the very different side
it was.
that nobody heard. Where was that recorded?
I guess in Houston.
Oh, okay. I don't know if
Just
that
before
was.
I came to Nashville.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say, was that cut at the Stardate Studios in Madison?
No, I don't think so.
Hmm.
You know, God, I don't. Listen to me, Lance. Do you know how old I am?
Yes, I wasn't going to say your age because that's
I'll
not
be glad to,
polite.
honey. I'd rather somebody say, "Boy, she looks good for 82 years old," instead of saying, "Man, she looks bad for 70." You know, so truth's truth. I earned every one of these wrinkles, and I wouldn't give them away for nothing in the world. Each one of them has a story.
Uh-huh. So now we were talking. You started singing around Shreveport. Is that correct?
I did.
And then you met Benny Barnes.
Yeah, I met Benny. Well, I started singing and got my little
Hmm.
guitar, and my my neighbor introduced me to a fellow by the name of D. Murray.
Oh, okay.
Remember D. Murray? He was
Hmm.
Benny's manager.
Yeah.
So Benny came to me. I mean, D. Murray came to me and wanted to manage me. And
Hmm.
oh man, yeah, you know,
Hmm.
I was really getting in the business.
Hmm.
He was a great guy, and he believed in me, and he's the one that introduced me to Benny Barnes. And so we just took it from there.
Hmm.
He Benny, of course, I met it at the hayride. We would talk and stuff, and I was writing, and I asked him to listen to this song of mine called "Mine All Mine," and
Right.
he liked it, and he recorded it. We went to Houston, and he asked Pappy Daly to listen to me sing some of my things, and Pappy, I don't know what he heard in me back then, but I guess you got to start somewhere, don't you?
Hmm. Hmm.
And you said you liked some of my earlier stuff.
Oh yeah.
I cringe a little bit with some of them, you know,
Hmm.
but I still am proud of the walk I've had and the tracks I've made. Started out real shallow tracks that I
Hmm.
hope I've made a little bit deeper as I can.
Hmm. Well, as I've said, I don't think, in my opinion, there's not a bad record you've cut. I mean,
Oh,
everyone's good quality. Now, what can you tell us about Pappy Daly?
well, they had the distributor, the record distributor in Houston.
Hmm.
Him and his son, Pappy Daly, he was just a big man. He was just the tops to me.
Hmm.
He just believed in me, and I loved him to the moon and back. I
Hmm.
don't know what I could tell you about him. He's just a fine man. I loved him,
Hmm.
and he gave me my very first start.
Uh-huh.
And then Don Pierce was, you know, they it was first D Records,
Right.
then Start A Records, and Mercury Start A.
Right, right. The distribution deal they had because they were
Right.
trying to get George Jones, and the story I heard was that Mercury was trying to get George Jones on the label, trying to buy out his contract, and Pappy wouldn't sell it,
That's
and
probably true.
so they decided they'd give Pappy a job as the country music A&R person for Mercury.
Mercury's, yeah.
And yeah, that's why you find a lot of things like Curtis Gordon cut for down in Houston on a song called I'm trying to remember the name of it. Something
Okay.
about so tired of crying. That was the name of it, and that was cut at Gold Star. Well, now there's another interesting question. What were the Gold Star studios like? How can you describe them?
Are you kidding me? Uh, I just remember the whole thing. I don't know what it was like. It was like
Hmm.
a little studio.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't. I'm being funny when I say, "Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?" Because it was just a little studio. I
Uh-huh.
don't think it was a real big place. It was.
Uh-huh.
I really don't remember, Lance.
Because a lot of hits came out of
Yes,
there.
sir. I know.
So, both country and rock and roll. The
Hmm.
Big Bopper did Chantilly Lace there,
Oh
and
my God, I love the Big Bopper. What a shame he got cut down
yeah.
in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that the other day. Somebody singing it and
Mm-hmm.
brought back so many memories.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Mhm.
So you were on Mercury, and then after Mercury, you also went back to Starday. The Starday when Don Pierce started here in Nashville. There were several
Mhm.
records you put on there,
Mhm.
and how did that come about?
I have no idea. It
Mm.
just it just
Uh
happened.
huh.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I met Don. We moved to
Mm-hmm.
Nashville
Mm-hmm.
in about 1959,
Mm-hmm.
60, early 60, and
Mm-hmm.
met Don. And as a matter of fact, he was instrumental in my house where I live.
Oh, really?
Uh, he introduced me to the realtor
Mm-hmm.
and the guy that built it.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, I don't know. Don just, I guess it just evolved,
Mm-hmm.
out of uh, Mercury into Mercury Star. I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Was I on Mercury Star Day or just Star Day? I think I did have
Well,
one
you
or
you
two
did have a couple records
on
on
Mercury Star
Uh
Day.
huh.
You know more
Exactly.
about me than I know myself
Well,
back in that
I've
day.
read a lot, so that's how I know.
I'm blown away by
Now,
that.
now, yeah, like I said, we talked about Starday, and then you went back to Mercury and started having hits like old records.
Yeah, now as I said, I came to Nashville and I recorded the album with George Jones.
Uh huh.
My ex-husband by then had become A&R director. He through me he met these people. He was
Mm-hmm.
an engineer out at Remington Rand Munitions Plant in
Mm-hmm.
Minden, Louisiana, Ruston, Louisiana. And he was a go-getter, and he
Mm-hmm.
he met these people, and he decided he could do it, and Mercury hired him as a regional
Mm-hmm.
salesman for, and he worked his way up into getting the job with them for A&R director for Mercury with Jerry Kennedy.
Right.
Jerry Kennedy was instrumental in getting all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Shelby couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. He didn't know how to communicate with the musicians,
Uh huh.
but he knew how to communicate with Jerry.
Uh
Jerry
huh.
read him like a book,
Ah.
and he would communicate with Jerry, and Jerry would communicate to the musicians what Shelby
Mm-hmm.
wanted. And then I was in the group with we had three of the Jordanaires, Millie Kirkham, and Jerry Reed's wife,
Priscilla. Yeah.
Priscilla Mitchell. We called her Prissy. We formed a group called the Merry Melody
Uh
Singers.
huh.
You wouldn't happen to have that album, would you?
Which one?
The only one they put out, it was songs by quartets, like it was a pop album.
Mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful, like Naughty Lady of Shady Lane and
Oh.
those type of things. But anyway, we did that album, and that's the group we used for
Mm.
the background singers. And I had to form a little company called MS Productions,
Mm-hmm.
and I would book the singers through that, and
Mm-hmm.
we had a good thing going until my ex decided he wanted to look for greener pastures.
Yeah.
And but I'm right where God wants me to be. If I had been with him, I wouldn't have been had my relationship with the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
because when my husband Leon Ashley, he wrote a song, "She picked me up just when you let me down,"
Mm-hmm.
and that was about his ex-wife, but it fit me too, because he picked me up right when Shelby put me down.
Uh huh.
And we just made a great team, Leon and I, and
Mm-hmm.
he knew the Lord. And at that time, we weren't with God. We were out in the world, doing our thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think God always knew that we'd be back. He protected me through the years with so many chilling, almost that being killed in so many accidents.
Mm.
I won't go into that,
Yeah.
but uh, I guess I got a little bit ahead of us, didn't I?
No,
There?
that's fine. That's fine. Now, getting back to now, how did you get on the Louisiana Hayride?
Tillman Franks.
Okay.
Uh, Horace Logan. He wouldn't let me be on the hayride because there was a girl named Jeanette Hicks.
Right.
She's the first girl that sang with George, but
Uh-huh.
I was the first girl that did a whole album with George.
Right.
And he said that I sang too much like Jeanette Hicks, which I didn't.
I don't hear it, yeah.
No. And so we just bided our time, and then Tillman became manager
Uh-huh.
of the
Hayride.
hayride, and my family and his family formed a church. His brother and my
Billy,
mom and
yeah.
dad. We were in a little Boy Scout hut in
Wow.
Oakmont Church of God,
Mm.
and we became like one big family, the Frankses and the Ebies. And Tillman, he was my friend, and he was kind of a funny guy,
Yes.
but he was the one that let me be on as a member
Yeah.
of the hayride. Have you seen the hayride box set?
I've got it.
Isn't it?
Uh-huh.
I got it too, but I can't listen to it yet because it's you got to go through all those shows.
Yeah.
And I've started, but it take forever. It's got
Yeah.
120 hours.
Yeah.
So,
That's a long thing, but I've heard some of them, like, there's some really jewels on there, like the trio that you did with Merle Kilgore and Johnny J, I think it was.
really, I hadn't heard
Yeah.
that one yet.
I forget the song, but it's on there, and it's really good. And then your solo performances, and then but we were talking about you were talking about George Jones. Also, I think between Jeanette Hicks and you, he recorded with a lady named Virginia Spurlock.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Now
did a
that-
song called "No No Never," and
I remember
Flame
Virginia Spurlock, but I didn't remember that.
and "Flame in My
So
Heart"
my
was the other
history's
side.
Not right on that.
But that was the two and everything,
Mm-hmm.
that the two ladies, and then you came along. There was another woman that also sang with him, but those tracks were never released. They're on the same one that has a One by One on it. That box set Bear Family did.
That me and I did.
Yeah, that we were talking about. That it was there was an unreleased track.
Oh, one excuse as good as another.
No, yeah.
That's it.
Frankie Miller later recorded that.
Did he?
Yeah, on United Artists.
Oh, after I left Mercury, after Shelby and I divorced, I was on United Artists.
Right. You did an album called Crying Time.
Crying Time.
Which
Real
which
good
floored me. I didn't, till I got that album, I didn't even know anything about it. I'm like, well, this is surprising, yeah. So I immediately picked that one up and everything. Now we were. Let me go back here. Now, from the Louisiana Hayride, you went to the Ozark Jubilee,
Yep, I did.
and what was that like? Except having to go all the way to Springfield, Missouri.
Well, it was so exciting to me. I was
Uh-huh.
on the road doing it,
Uh huh.
and I was just so green, But I look back and I've got the producer of that show, Bob Tubert.
Mm-hmm.
I have the actual tape
Oh wow.
of the television tape. It's in a box that's got a thing around it. It's Joe, my friend, one of my adopted boys in the business. He said, "Mama, that is an awesome thing to have."
Yes.
It's a whole show of the
Uh-huh.
Ozark Jubilee.
Yeah.
The reason Bob gave me that is because I did a perfect pantomime. He had never seen anybody do a perfect
Oh
pantomime
wow.
of a song
Uh-huh.
at that time. I'm sure they do now, but
Uh-huh.
that was really an honor to get that.
Uh-huh. Now, did you know Porter Wagoner? Because I know he was on there, and the others folks that are on that show.
We did Leon and I did the Porter Wagner show.
Yes, there's a clip of that on YouTube.
I knew Porter. We weren't buddy. We weren't. But yeah, I knew him pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I loved his music and loved him. I was fixing to say something, but I forgot where I was. Yeah, we did that show, and somebody has put on YouTube some Opry Martha White
Yes,
shows.
the Pet Mill Grand Ole Opry.
Pet Mill,
Yeah.
Pet Mill Grand Ole Opry. And you said you found some of me and Faron shows, audios, not
Yeah,
videos.
that was a it was a syndicated radio show he did for well, there's for he you could insert whatever commercial, but the prime sponsor what I found is Pearl Beer down in Texas. It was that
Mm.
was like the main commercial and everything, and but yeah, you're on there. You did one of your records, and then the one side of you did Another Man's Woman, Another Man's Wife, and Another Woman's Man, beg your pardon. And the song I wished they had done was Honky Tonk Happy. That of
Oh, I
all
thought
four,
Faron
that
wanted
is
to
my
say,
very favorite
really?
song. Yes.
Faron wanted to say, honka tonk.
Yeah, he does. He does on that. Yeah.
What? But I did. Yeah.
That's a good song. I really,
Oh,
my,
thank you.
my good friend Greg Druss turned me on to that song.
I miss Faron so bad.
Yes.
I can't even stand to think about it. He was just he, after Shelby left me in the lurch, we had just had Keeping Up with the Joneses, and our next record was going to be Mr. Peters. And people
Yes.
want to know why we didn't do another one. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's why. And Roy Drusky and Priscilla Mitchell did it.
Mm-hmm.
Shelby cut them with it, but Farron said, "Well, of course, I was out on all the sessions. I was working 16-hour sessions."
Mm-hmm. With the Merry Melody Singers.
And so that was, of course, with Mercury, and well, it was
Mm-hmm.
other labels too that I was doing that
Mm-hmm.
with. But it basically, I was out of the business as far as having a label or.
That
Farron and
is
I
so.
couldn't
That
cut
is so
again.
rotten. I'm sorry, but that is so rotten.
Well, it was a low blow, and I had to start all over again.
Mm-hmm.
But Faron was a friend of Leon Ashley's.
Mm.
And Farron said, "Well, Margie, you can come on the road with me. We've got the song, and we'll just come on the road with me till you get yourself back together."
Mm-hmm.
And I did, and he was so good to me. I loved him to death. Him and his wife Hilda. I used to go if I had a plane the next morning that I had to catch to go to a show.
Mm-hmm.
Hilda would take me to the airport. I'd go stay at their house that night because I lived in Hendersonville and they lived in Nashville. And she was just precious, and Farron was good to me. And a little bit later on, he had this man come to town, and it was Leon.
Oh.
Leon was not in the business. He was a radio station owner.
Mm-hmm.
He owned 7 stations at the time.
Wow.
And back then, I think he always said that was the maximum station that one person could own.
Yeah, that's changed because
It has changed.
it's changed. Yeah, because you got now your conglomerates and
Yeah,
everything.
but as far as I mean, he didn't. It was his company,
Mm-hmm.
and so he asked me, did I want to stay in the business? He was just kind of playing with it.
Oh.
And so I said, well, I love it. It's in me. And he said, well, I'll just sell the stations. I'll come in it with you because I'm not going to be Mr. Margie Singleton.
Wow.
And so the first song he wrote was Laura, What's He Got That I Ain't Got?
Yeah.
Put it out on his own label, wrote it, recorded it, brought it to #1. And I was doing a bio the other night and looking up who all cut that. I got up to about 28
Wow.
people who had recorded it.
I know Kenny Rogers did a version of it. Claude King did a
Marty
version of it.
Robbins.
Marty Robbins. Wow, that's incredible. And yeah, that's really wonderful. Getting back to the Merry Melody Singers, you were talking about this album that you did of the pop standards and
I've looked
everything.
for it and I can't
Well,
find
I was going to say, well, that's one I've got to look for now. But you did another album. It was you and a bunch of other folks called All American Goes Country.
it. Yes, sir, I did. And that was one I had forgotten. It was a Broadway show, All
Yeah.
American Goes Country, and I did a song. I've got it on here. Oh shoot, I can't think of it right
Yeah.
now. But it knocked me out. I couldn't believe it was even me singing it.
Mm-hmm.
I was so young, and so my voice is settled so
Uh-huh.
much. Like everything else settles as you get older, it drops. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
but everybody's. I almost died when Leon did. He got cancer in 2006
Yeah, that's sad.
on his tongue, of all places.
Oh no.
And he lived to 2013, and I was never gonna sing again. And I lost my voice.
Oh wow.
I lost the will too, and a young man on Facebook looked me up and wanted to do a show for my 80th birthday and me star on it. I said, "You're crazy." He said, "Yes, you can do it." And he said, "I'm going to book you on it, and I'm going to get all your friends to come and sing on it."
Wow.
And Lonnie Spiker was our fronted our shows for 20 years. And Lonnie loved Leon, and Leon loved Lonnie. And I knew that the only person he would feel good about me being on stage with was Lonnie. And I did, and it's just the Lord lit the fire back in me and gave me songs for a gospel CD that I wrote, On the Other Side of Life. That title is the head title in it, and it's about the passing of Leon.
Oh wow.
And I don't know how much time. I know we're short on time, but I do want to get to the fact that I have got an amazing thing that's happened to me in the last 2 months. My associate pastor came to me and he said, "This is a true story. I am very much into the Lord. I love him. I'm a Christian. He's my everything. And this is the God's truth, or I wouldn't be saying it." But he told me, he said, the Lord has asked me to do a revival on hell because people are hearing that, feel good about yourself. Isn't heaven beautiful? But they never tell them the consequences of hell if they don't obey.
Right.
So, and he said, and also, God put it upon my heart for you to write a song, Margie. I said, "Oh my, that's too heavy for me." And I just told the Lord, I can't do it on my own. You got to give it to me. And I'm telling you, when you ask and believe, you receive. This song, I don't know if you've heard it or not.
Yes, I have.
But it absolutely dropped down. I wrote it on paper. He gave me the ability to sing it. And it is, and we've got a video cut on it, and we've got the CD out on CD Baby. Going to be out Tuesday.
Oh, great.
And I'm just real high about that right now. I hope the people will love it. We put it on YouTube last night. It has almost 4,000 hits on it.
Wow, that is incredible.
The devil tried to make me came in and said, "Oh, people are gonna say it's too graphic, it's too dark." Not one person has said that.
Of course, yeah.
Not one, because God's got it. He's got it.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank
you for letting me tell that.
Okay. Of course. Well, it's a good song, and a good song is a good song, and I will be playing it on Country Party Time, so we'll put it on there. A couple of questions, and then I guess we got to wrap this up. But
he said he'd give us a 10-minute heads up.
Yeah, okay. Now you cut a song. Well, I'm gonna give background to the audience real quick. There was a gentleman here in Nashville by the name of Bill Beasley, and he formed Tennessee Records, and
it was I used to do cover songs.
Yeah, and you did one, "Let's Go All the Way," the Norma Jean song. That's the one I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
And I remember getting the album that was on, and it had like it didn't list any artists.
No, it didn't. He would do. He called Hit Records.
Yeah, this is on Country and Western Hits. Yeah.
And he would get people to come in and sing hit songs anonymously and not put a name on it, right?
Yeah, right.
And I did heard that, and I think I did one of Loretta's, and I don't sound like Loretta.
Well, I'm sitting there. Well, you can imagine this. I'm sitting there listening to this album, and all of a sudden it starts the intro of "Let's Go All the Way," and your voice comes on. I said,
And you never
I said,
think,
oh my God, that's Margie Singleton.
did you really?
Yes, I knew your voice just from like the first
Aw,
couple of notes. I mean, that voice is so distinctive, and that's the thing. You have a very distinctive voice to where you don't sound like anybody else.
no.
You have that distinctive of a voice that is just you can't imitate it, you can't copy it. You don't sound like anybody else, and I think that is incredible.
Man, you know what? I'm more blessed than you even know, because sometimes I get the feeling like, I'm a failure. I have been,
Mm-mm.
but if I touch one person like I seem to have touched you,
Yes.
uh, it's worth it all.
Well, I'm a huge fan. I've always been a
Thank you
huge
so much.
fan, and there was an album that came out called Saturday Night Shindig that was recorded, I think, at the DJ convention, and it was like the Mercury Records party, and you did old records, and then you said, and it's something that struck me all these years. You said, "I'm not much of a singer, let alone a talker," and I said, baloney, she is a good singer. You're shorting yourself.
Oh,
You have a wonderful voice.
oh.
And
I
so
was I was
that just
so insecure.
that
I really was
uh-huh.
insecure.
Hmm.
God has given me the power to get up here and say something's good of mine, and I know
Hmm.
this new video and
Hmm.
song, it's above anything that I have ever done in my life, and I
Hmm.
think God kept me here to just let me have that
Hmm.
to go out with it. I may go out with it.
Uh-huh.
Who knows? I'm in pretty good health,
Uh-huh.
and I have plans that He's given me to do. But I appreciate you saying that so much. I hate to hear myself talk.
Uh-huh.
I sound so country.
What's wrong with that? That's excellent. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. Now, let's talk about the one song that we were talking about, old records. How now you wrote that?
No, I did not. A guy
Oh,
named Arthur Thomas wrote that.
oh, okay.
And Merle Kilgore helped him to tighten it up. He had never
Mm-hmm.
written anything. So actually, Merle and Arthur Thomas'
Mm,
name is on it.
okay.
And I loved the song. And I thought, oh, this is it. This is going to be my biggie. And it did.
It
It kind of
was,
does.
yeah.
Yeah, that was my signature, I guess you could call it,
Hmm.
song. Um, Old records.
Yeah, that one and Keeping Up with the Joneses.
Mm.
And it's really funny because there's like four different versions of that I have of Keeping Up with the Joneses.
Well,
One is
Justin Tubb, you got his,
yes.
probably he wrote it.
Okay, yeah.
Keeping Up with the
Yeah,
Joneses.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, there's one of the. Oh, I know what it was. You did a thing. I don't know if it was a pilot or what it was, but there was a radio show, again called the Faron Young Show, for Mary Carter Paints.
Oh, yeah.
And where was that recorded? Or do you recall?
I don't.
Hmm.
I don't
It
recall.
was it sounded like it was cut at a fairgrounds or something. Just the sound of it, but I don't think so. But it had.
Lance, I have no idea.
Hmm.
If you have that,
Yes, I do. I'll
I'd
get you a
sure,
copy of
I'd
it.
sure
Yeah.
love anything you have that might be
Hmm.
from them. I would love to have it.
Hmm.
I noticed you gave Richie something today
Yeah, there was a
that
flash
was,
drive. Yeah, that has the Faron Young radio shows on it.
yeah. All that stuff's lost in time, and
Uh-huh.
it just keeps popping up.
Hmm.
I mean, memories keep coming back, and I'm just treasuring each one of them
Hmm.
because, uh, as I say, I was always kind of shy. You can't tell it now, can you?
Mm-mm.
Uh, I always felt like I was on the outside looking in,
Hmm.
and I think the divorce really
Hmm.
uh, settled that in my mind,
Hmm.
because when you're knocked down, but Leon Ashley came along and he picked me up just when he let me down,
Hmm.
you know.
You guys, you're good independently, but you also sang very well together. Your voices really blended.
I loved our harmony together. Our voices
Hmm.
blended more than anybody I've ever sung with.
Hmm.
I've got a little guy now called Kyle Knopf. You actually pronounce it Knopf, Knoth.
Hmm.
He's a guitar player and he's been in the business a few years. different venue, different. He's just absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I'm going to do I told you about my adopted music family.
Mm-hmm.
These boys and girls, men and women, have helped me to. They take me when I need to go. I don't drive downtown Nashville. I drive everywhere else. But if I have a show, they're with me,
Mm-hmm.
and they're holding on to my hand. My music family is just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And he plays guitar with me. Lonnie Spiker's with me, and Joe Rucker. Look
Mm-hmm.
him up. Look these guys up.
Okay.
Joe is just, he's my shoulder, and they just help me so much. But Kyle, I'm going to do an album, a CD called Mama and Her Boys. I am. We've already got the songs. Lonnie and I wrote 2 songs for it. Joe and I have written 2 songs for it. And Kyle and I have written 2 songs for it.
Uh-huh.
And our voices blend as good as almost as mine and Leon's did.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to play you a little thing that we
Okay.
cut when we finish.
Okay.
That I'm going to record with me and him. We stood at my counter and we were just messing around, and I started singing. Okay, I got it right now. Anyway, I started singing a line or something, and I got a couple of lines, and he looked at me, and I looked at him. I said, "Get your guitar." Because he was coming in with a line, and it's the prettiest thing. I'm gonna play it for you,
Okay.
because everybody that I play, but it's just a verse and chorus.
Mm-hmm.
Then I finished the rest of the song after he left. It's called "We Resurrected Old Memories."
Yes, I heard an interview you did with that, and I said, okay.
Did I play the song?
Yes, you did. It was Robert K. Orman, and I forget who the
Did I
other
sing
gentleman.
that?
Yes, you did. And I said, I've got to do that song. I have got to do that song.
I tell you what, we're going to cut it in the next week or 2, and I'll get it to you. I'm just blown away by this song.
Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
I've been thinking for a long time. I was finally over you. But when I saw you on the street yesterday, I knew that none of that was true. And he says, "You resurrected old memories I thought I'd left behind. Those sweet and precious memories haven't lifted from my mind."
That's good.
I
That's a
saw
good
you
song.
looking into my eyes. And he says, "I saw you looking into mine. And both of us, we resurrected love and feelings we never left behind." It's just so haunting. It's the best thing other than heaven or hell that I've had anything to do with in a long time.
Yes. Well, Margie, I want to thank you so much for talking with me today and providing me this information. It's invaluable, and I just want to thank you so much. Got to ask you one other thing.
Okay.
You still like Chinese food?
Oh, Lord. That's the first time I ever had Chinese food was when I went to Houston to record.
Because there was a thing, a magazine profile that says she loves watching her sons play Little League Baseball, and she absolutely loves Chinese food.
Lord, I had trout almondine. No. I had egg foo young.
Uh-huh.
Egg foo young. The first Chinese meal I had. And oh, my God. I was hooked. But that was in Houston at my first session.
Wow. Well, again, I want to thank you for spending this time with me, and I know my fans really appreciate you as much as I do.
Well,
At least I hope they
them.
do.
I hope they do. I appreciate them and thank them for putting up with this interview because I'm a little bit talkative sometimes. You never know I was shy. I have been through my life, but God has brought me out to let me know He loves me, and I love Him so much, and I love the people that love country music. The fans are just incredible. Once you have a fan of country music, you got them for life.
Well, I'm not only a fan of country music, I'm also a fan of Margie Singleton.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, now how do I turn this